What you are looking at here, dear viewer, is a man who made a very poor career choice. A man whose eyes were just forced out of his skull, his jaw has just shattered, and he just spat out his own teeth. And this is just one part in the sequence of gory events that awaits you if you get caught in Five Nights at Freddy's. This is Mike. He just secured a new job as the night guard at a local pizzeria, and he is the poor sod who finds himself at the epicenter of this horrifying experience. Come along, dear viewer, and let's see how his first shift goes. I'm sure it'll all be fine. But while Mike brews himself a mid-strength coffee and sets himself up for 6 hours of mindlessly looking at robot animals on a camera for less than minimum wage, let's provide some basic context for those unfamiliar with the lore. Five Nights at Freddy's takes place inside the appropriately named Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a popular family-orientated diner offering junk food, children's entertainment, and play areas, all in the company of the infamous animatronics. There's Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. There's also Golden Freddy, but he doesn't get out much. Now, the intricacies of the lore are extensive, complex, complicated, and adaptive. More of the story is revealed with each passing game and new piece of media, but at the same time there is also conflicting storylines, new characters and plot developments that don't always gel too well with the existing narrative. It makes it difficult to understand, a chore to keep up with, and it can be downright exhausting, dare I say. Now, before we get into the lore and gore, a quick word from today's sponsor. So you're out and about, doing your thing. The data ain't so good here, so you log into the establishment's public Wi-Fi, you hand over your email address, but oh no, dear viewer, you are now a part of the man-in-the-middle attack. Every piece of information you now send and receive is being monitored and analysed by a hacker to see if it is worth selling or to see if it's worth using. An MITM attack is both simple yet cunning. The hacker positions themselves in a public place, sets up an open twin Wi-Fi hotspot, titled appropriately such as, the local coffee shop, and then some poor sod clicks it, thinking it's legit, and now the hacker is potentially scraping their personal data and financial login details. You want to stay safe out there, you need NordVPN. Protecting your data is what they do. Rest assured that all your data is encrypted and no degenerate with a dodgy hotspot is stealing your information. Right, head to nordvpn.com/scp and you can get the discounted 2-year plan plus 1 month for free, and it's completely risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't risk it out there. Be safe. Follow my link and go and get NordVPN and protect your devices today. There have been several Five Nights at Freddy's pizzerias so far, but for this video, we only need to worry about 3 in particular. To clarify, there are more than 3 establishments, but this is just basic lore and not extensive lore, and they aren't important right now. Establishment 1 is Ground Zero. This is where an individual named William Afton, with a king for killing kids, assumed the disguise of an empty animatronic costume. Most likely, it was the Spring Bonnie suit. Spring Bonnie would later go on to be infamously known as Spring Trap. He used the disguise to lure the children into a secluded back room before brutally murdering them and stuffing their corpses into the 5 animatronics I mentioned previously. From then on, not only were the bodies of the children hidden inside the suits, but their souls were bound to them as well. Now, no one likes the smell of rotting children, funnily enough, so it'll come as no surprise to learn that the diner had to be shut down due to the smell of death and decay wafting from the suits. Evidently, no one thought to check them because the children's bodies were never recovered. Astonishingly, neither the diner staff, the authorities, or anyone else thought to take a closer look at the 7-foot-tall blood-stained chicken while they were looking for the missing children that went missing inside the very establishment with the blood-stained chicken in it. This absence of basic human intelligence and logic afforded William Afton the chance to successfully make his escape. Eventually, a new pizzeria is opened, and we now find ourselves at the second establishment. This is also where the second game takes place. Mr. Kiddie Killer William Afton returns to his old job, but this time assumes the role of a night guard. He is spooked when he sees the animatronics that still hold the bones of his victims wandering freely at night, and promptly disposes of the remains and resigns. A second theory suggests that actually it was the management that discovered the remains, but they didn't want the bad press or to open old wounds when they had just reopened the new pizzeria, and so they covered it up. I don't know which is right, so just let me know in the comments. In any event, the removal of the remains did not end the curse, and the children's souls are still bound to the suits. We do a big time jump now, and eventually Establishment 3 is opened, with the cursed animatronics, and that is where the original Five Nights at Freddy's and Mike's new job all take place. It's a very simple job. which is fortunate because Mike is not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. Mike has his office and a camera monitor, and all he has to do is watch the animatronics, and if they should approach his office, he needs to close the doors. But why does he have to do that? Why do the animatronics move around at night? Well, it turns out the children's souls love to go for a little midnight stroll. Now, for obvious reasons, the management were not about to tell Mike that the robots are haunted, so instead they peddled him a story about the animatronics having a free roaming mode to prevent their systems from seizing up. It gives them free roam across the entire establishment except for the designated safe zone. Sadly, Mike's office is not in the safe zone, and so if the animatronics happen across him, he has to seal the doors to keep them out. Now let's dive into the reasons why. Supposedly, the spirits haunting the suits are driven by a thirst for vengeance and blood. However, that could obviously create some unease and tension with the staff, leading to poor morale, gossip, and lost income. And no company likes to see a bad quarterly statement, and so the company, pragmatic as ever, have a much different explanation, asserting that after hours, the animatronics no longer recognize humans as such. Instead, they see them as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on, like a coat hanger with no coat on it. And so if the animatronics find Mike, and he is not able to close the door in time, they will put a coat on that coat hanger. Mike's first night doesn't exactly start off on a good note. He's informed by a company representative that they accept no liability for any form of injury, and if he is injured or dies on the job, they won't file a missing persons report or even notify the authorities until after the entire premises has been bleached and any possible evidence has been destroyed or corrupted. He is further warned to avoid the animatronics and is also encouraged not to play dead, or the mascots will confuse him for an empty suit, and so poor Mike can expect to get pegged by an endoskeleton instead. Mike then learns that the entire building runs on fucking battery power, and he only has a finite amount of it to keep the lights on and the doors closed, necessitating the need to ration it, because for some reason this place just disconnects from the national grid at night. The hours begin to drag by. Mike notices that Bonnie seems to have a strange fascination with a spare Freddy suit in the parts and services room. He switches to the kitchen to see Chica fucking around with the pots and pans before the feed dies. A deep chuckle suddenly echoes around the building, and Mike switches the camera feed to see Freddy staring at him. The sound of something running cuts through the laughter. Mike switches the view again to see Foxy running down the hallway towards him. He leaps across the room and seals the door just in time to lock Foxy out. Mike settles back in his chair and sips his lukewarm coffee. His attention shifts back to the monitors and is relieved to see Foxy retreating to the depths of Pirate's Cove once more. Mike's relief is abruptly shattered, however, as a 7-foot-tall chicken suddenly appears at the other door. He leaps across the room once more and seals it. A quick look at his dwindling power level sends a sense of dread through Mike, coupled with the sight of Chica staring at him through the window and the camera view of Bonnie holding an empty Freddy head. His prospects are not looking good. He looks past Bonnie at a poster of a yellow bear on the wall, and a childish laughter fills his ears. A heaviness suddenly fills the room, and Mike feels the hairs on his neck stand on end. He slowly lowers the monitor and is momentarily paralyzed. His world falls apart as he is greeted by the sight of a golden Freddy mascot slumped on the floor in his office, its empty eyes staring at him. Its presence is suffocating. He begins to shake. He could feel a scream coming. An animalistic sound of pure terror and fear leaves his lips, and the monitor clatters to the floor. All at once, the power dies, the doors open, and the golden mascot disappears. The heaviness remains, however, and Mike can hear footsteps approaching once more. He dives under the desk, praying whatever is coming won't find him. Whimpers escape his quivering lips as Freddy ominously steps into the office. A second scream of terror is offered up to Freddy as the mascot flips the table. Mike scrambles to his feet and runs towards the door, only to see Chica standing there ready to meet him. This time she is the one who screams. It's so loud and so piercing that he falls to the floor clutching his ears. Freddy drags Mike to his feet and begins escorting him down the hallway. He tries in vain to escape Freddy's embrace, but its grip only tightens. As they enter the parts and services room, the empty suit is revealed to Mike, and it suddenly dawns on him what is about to happen. The thighs of the suit are first forced upwards from the ankles. Handfuls of flesh and muscle are forced out the sides as the fight for space is lost. The pressure proves too much for Mike's tendons. They stretch and tear as his foot is bent the wrong way, and his femur bones break as the leg parts are forced into position. The application of the crotch segments is especially distressing. The sheer shock and agony left him speechless as the crushing force shatters his pelvis. Chica holds up Mike's arms as the body piece is forced downwards. She reaches in and pulls Mike's arms through the holes. A few bones snap, but the arms fit. Eventually. She begins forcing the arm portions past his hands, just as she forced the legs through. In her haste, she catches a couple of Mike's fingers that bend back until the nail touches his wrist. The hands are a challenge, but they too are eventually fitted. The head proves the most troublesome. It takes both Chica and Bonnie to force the grim helmet onto Mike's head. The pressure becomes too much. Too many beams and wires and cogs dig into him and he feels his jaw split. The mask descends lower, but now it puts pressure on his eyes. He resists the best he can, but the metal optical units force their way into his sockets and his eyes pop out of his skull. A final push and Mike's neck snaps, allowing for the head segment to meet with the body. Satisfied, the animatronics step back and leave the spare parts room to continue their midnight escapades. As the morning dawned, a sense of dread washes over the cleaners as they cautiously approach the spare parts room, a suspicious crimson liquid flowing out from under the door. Their intention is to gather the necessary supplies to clean the unusual stain off of the animatronics that had appeared overnight. However, as they open the door, what instead awaits them is the eerie gaze of the night guard's eyes, ominously peering through the mask of an animatronic costume that rests in a pool of blood. Check out this video for another great story, and please leave a like if you made it this far, it really helps the channel. Big up the patrons and members for their support, and special thanks to Afri Interactive, Ryan Brenner, Techno Ninja, GFHD, Infinite Tune, Kamana, Viger, and Andre Bashert.